Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about the true cost of ownership over 2 years of my Tesla Model 3, so if you're interested, stay tuned. So I bought my Model 3 in December of 2018, so we're going to go to December 2020 as the cutoff. That way it's an even 2 years and we don't have to do any prorating or anything like that with insurance and things like that. So at the time, I had about 16,000 miles on the car, so let's first start with the total cost of the car. And I'm not even going to try to remember all those numbers because there's just too many of them. So I have a mid-range Model 3, and with all the variables that I bought at the time with the paint and all that stuff, it came out to be $48,700. And then we add tax on top of that. That was $4,017.75. Plus license and registration, that was another $568. For a total of $53,285.75. And we're going to include the finance charge because that definitely counts for my loan. That was another $1,522.76. And that was for about half the value of the car since I had a trade-in. So the other half is obviously the loan. For a total cost of $54,808.51. So keep in mind, back in 2018, the federal credit was still there, so that included with the state credit that I got, that was the full $10,000 off, so really I only paid about $44,000 for the car. If we were to take the Kelley Blue Book price of the car, back then, about this time, it's about the same time frame, it's going to be between $35,000 and $40,000 if you were to sell it privately, which I would do because you can always get, most of the time you can get more money back selling the car privately rather than trading it in or, giving it to a dealership, something like that. So of course the condition of my car is excellent. There's basically just a little bit of wear and tear on the front with the door dings, but everything else is really good. So to be fair, let's just go with $37,500 right down the middle of that $35,000 to $40,000 as the cost that I'd be able to get back for the car. So your first cost is going to be depreciation costs. So if we take the $44,200, so that's going to be backing out that registration that I mentioned earlier because I'm going to add that in another bucket later, minus the $37,500 that we just talked about for the resale value. That's about $6,700 in depreciation cost over 2 years that it would cost me to own the car, which isn't bad at all. So if we were to use my actual car value that I paid, the $44,200, if you divide that by 6,700, that's about 15% depreciation, which isn't bad for 2 years because normally cars will depreciate anywhere from 15 to 20% in the first year and then another 15% in the second year. So I'm kind of at half depreciation, which is really good. And this is because, as you may or may not know, Teslas tend to hold their value a lot better than other cars. And so that's why the depreciation is a lot lower than, other ICE cars. And so that's really good for the used car market. If you're, looking to sell your Tesla, you're going to get more in return than you would with a normal ICE car. So you might be able to get over asking price or pretty easily get your asking price because a lot of people want to get into an EV, but they can't afford buying a new EV because it's just too expensive. So they look to the used market. So that's good for you if you're looking to sell your Tesla. Maintenance cost is next. So for me, that's a big fat zero. So I haven't even spent like the $3 on the wiper fluid or anything like that. Tire rotations for me are free because I do them in my garage. I have the tools. But if you don't have the tools to do tire rotations, you can actually go down to America's Tire or Discount Tire is what it's called in other parts of the country. And they actually do tire rotations for free, even if you haven't even bought tires there. So they kind of just do it as a customer service thing, hoping that you will buy tires from them later down the line. Charging is next. So this is obviously a big expense for any EV as gas is for a normal car. I did a specific video on home, public, and supercharging costs that I'm going to pull the numbers from that video for this video. I would highly recommend watching that, so I'm going to put that in the cards here. But basically, in that video, for 16,000 miles, it was 4,200 kilowatt hours of energy that I used, and that came out to be $798. So the 4,200 kilowatt hours was at 19 cents an hour with delivery fees, and that was, through PG&E, utility company. But it's kind of an overestimate if you think about it because basically when I bought the car back in 2018, utility prices were a little bit cheaper. They're kind of around 15 cents a kilowatt hour. And so, obviously utility companies do whatever they want with their pricing. And so it's a little bit higher, but we're going to use that because I'd rather overestimate than underestimate. Also, a heads up, the 798 is basically for you guys, the viewers, because for me personally, I actually get free energy and I haven't paid for electricity since probably the first month I got in the car, because I can get free charging at work, there's free chargers down the street that I can walk to, and I have free supercharging from all the referrals that I've gotten. So if you use my referral, thank you very much. But yeah, basically I get free supercharging, but we're going to use 798 because that's more realistic for a true cost video for you, the viewers. So if we were to calc cost per mile, 16,319 miles divided by $798, that's 4.9 cents a mile, which is super cheap compared to ICE cars, which is about 12 to 15 cents per mile. Insurance is next, and obviously this is a huge variable depending on you. And so for me, since I have a clean driving record, I feel like my rate is kind of average if you're male and over 25. We do have a multi-policy discount, so that probably helps too. But my insurance was basically $1,100 for the first year and then $1,000 for the second year. So $2,100 total over the 2 years. So those are the numbers. So now I have a sheet putting it all together. So let's go to the sheet and take a look at it. So welcome to my sheet with the entire breakdown of everything. So if we go straight from top to bottom here, first is depreciation. So this 44,200 number is not including the registration that I mentioned earlier because registration is down here. So if we take that 44,200 minus the 37,500 in, selling price that I'd be able to get the car back, total depreciation for 2 years would be $6,700, which isn't too bad, considering that Teslas do tend to hold their value. And if we go down to the next line of taxes, taxes are taxes, so I paid about $4,000 in taxes, and I'm also including the finance charge in here too because that's obviously part of the loan that you're going to have to pay, so that's just money gone, which is about $1,500. That was on a 4-year loan at 3.39%, just in case you're curious. So, it really depends on your loan and how long it is and how much money you're financing. Maybe it'll be around the same amount or maybe it won't. So that's the finance charge. Maintenance, as I mentioned, was $0 because I do my own tire rotations and I haven't even gotten, any wiper fluid or anything. So basically $0. Not basically, it is $0. Charging is $798. Registration for 2 years is $1,099. So there's the $568 that I mentioned earlier that has been taken out of this number. And then the second year was $531. And as I mentioned before, it's a little bit cheaper. Every year over year, it should be, your registration should be going down because the car is getting older. But who knows with, politics these days and what they want to do and where states trying to get money from. So it could go up, but typically it goes down. And then insurance was $2,100 for 2 years, so $1,100 in the first year, and then $1,000 in the second year. And kind of the same principle. As your car gets older, it should be cheaper to insure because it's older and the car is not worth as much. So if we go for all of that, that comes out to be $16,237.51 total cost of ownership for 2 years and about 16,000 miles. So that's pretty good. That's, a pretty good price to pay for 2 years of ownership. It's just under $1 a mile, which is pretty cheap. So the actual calculation is 99.5 cents per mile, which is really good for, any car. So keep in mind, if you think that's a little on the high side, EVs catch up to ICE cars later when they get a little bit older because gas prices are cheaper and also the maintenance. Basically, EVs don't really have any maintenance, so that's where they're really going to catch up because as cars get older, ICE cars are going to have to, do more oil changes. You have to do major tunes and clutches and timing belts and things like that. And so as the car gets older, that's where the EVs really make the difference. And since Teslas tend to hold their value better than other cars, you'll get less depreciation, meaning you'll get more back in resale value when it comes time to sell. Upfront costs for a Tesla are definitely going to be higher, yes, but if you can afford those upfront costs, over 5 years, you'll catch up to the ICE car because you're not going to have to pay as much in energy or electricity, and maintenance is going to catch up. You're going to catch up to the ICE car because you don't have to do maintenance. So if you can afford those upfront costs, it's definitely going to be cheaper in the long run to buy a Tesla or an EV. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Does seeing the true cost over 2 years of Model 3 entice you to want to buy one? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.